Yes, hello. I'm Dr. Ilene Serlin with the pleasure of interviewing my dear friend, longtime colleague, Dr. Stanley Krippner. It is September 24th, 2024, and Stanley's speaking to us by Zoom today. And Stanley, the question is, this series is all about legacy. You are our elders, our very valuable elders. And the question is, what do you see for the upcoming times of humanistic psychology in today's world?
Oh, that's really a loaded question, but I will do my best to answer. I think for me, we need to realize the origins of humanistic psychology because Abraham Maslow, Carl Rogers, Rollo May, others at the Old Sabre Conference were upset that mainstream psychologies were not really addressing vast expanses of what human beings are all about. So, I think, first of all, humanistic psychology is a holistic psychology. It covers the whole person, both positive, negative, also both past and present. We cannot, for their heritage. And then humanistic psychology is a somatic psychology, thanks to Eleanor Criswell, who brought her awareness of that fact. Most psychologies really do not pay attention to the mind-body continuum or the role that somatics play, not only in psychotherapy, but in education, in human development. Also, humanistic psychology is a positive psychology. It focuses from the beginning on positive aspects of the human potential, whereas the reigning psychology at the time were sort of stuck in the pathological elements of the human potential. But then, humanistic psychology is a Jungian psychology. Thanks to Gustav Jung, who introduced the term shadow, humanistic psychology does not ignore the shadow elements of the people or of society. This is something, to be holistic, must be taken into account. Also, humanistic psychology is a person-centered psychology. That, of course, is the term of Carl Rogers. And by focusing on the person is more important than any theoretical, doctrinaire interpretation of the person. Humanistic psychology is also an existential psychology. Again, thanks to Rollo May, who brought that tradition into the picture. Existential psychology focuses on meaning, on intention, and on agency. The human being as an agent who makes decisions, who, to the best of their abilities, given the constraints of genetics and environment, have direction, have a certain amount of free will. And then human psychology, of course, is a transpersonal psychology. Transpersonal psychology, of course, has a tradition of its own, but it's deeply enmeshed from the beginning in humanistic psychology. And transpersonal psychology shows us that when you talk about the human being and the human self, we have to take a broad review because there's something that goes above and beyond the self and also goes deeper than the self and also is laterally of the self in terms of connection to the rest of nature. And therefore, humanistic psychology is a ecological psychology concerned with the environment, the preservation of the environment, and the role that humans play not in dominating the environment, but in being a part of the environment and working along with nature. And of course, transpersonal psychology was at the forefront of seeing the potential of psychedelics. And so humanistic psychology is a psychedelic psychology, bringing in the history of psychedelics from indigenous traditions, looking at how psychedelics can be used after decades and decades of being ignored for psychotherapy and enhancing human creativity. Also, I would say that humanistic psychology is a rational psychology. I take a broad Kant view of humanistic psychology, and I consider Albert Ellis, who was one of the founders of the division of humanistic psychology, part of that broad Kant. And his emphasis on fighting irrational belief systems to enhance human welfare is something that should be an integral part of humanistic psychology. Yes, reason is not the whole story. Intuition, of course, is part of his feelings also. But the bottom line is, if we have irrational belief systems, what I call dysfunctional personal myths, people are not going to be able to function well enough to attain their potential. I think that on top of all of that, we can say that humanistic psychology is a problem-solving psychology, focusing not on abstractions about the person in education and psychotherapy, but how humans can use their resources, latent and actualized, to solve basic problems in their lives and go on and have a more fulfilling life. Also, humanistic psychology is an artistic psychology. More than anything else, humanistic psychology is connected to the arts, to music, to dance, to literature, to poetry. All of these have been a part of humanistic psychology from the beginning, and also connecting with the Greek classics, Greek and Roman literature, the Eastern traditions. Humanistic psychology is also pulled more from these classical and artistic and aesthetic conventions than really any other type of psychology. Other psychology might, well, that's not really psychology, but these are parts of human nature, the creative force, and how it is manifested over the years. And I would end by saying humanistic psychology is a humorous psychology, fun-loving, light, joyous, happy. And other psychologies often wallow in the depths or in abstractions. Humanistic psychology is real, is vital, and is fun. And if you want to have fun, come to a humanistic psychology convention.
Join Division 32.
Okay.
Stanley, you always manage to say hours and hours in time allotted, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, and you just covered the whole spectrum.
Oh, thank you.
And as far as what we hope for the future for the young people who are going to be watching this,
Good.
hope that none of these dimensions gets lost.
Okay, well, let's hope that they join our Society for Humanistic Psychology, where they join APA, attend the humanistic psychology conventions and meetings, and find ways to incorporate humanistic psychology into their personal lives.
Have a good time doing so and make lots of new friends.
Okay, good.
Stanley, thank you. We'll be in touch soon.
Wonderful. All right.
Lots of love. Bye-bye, Stanley. Thank you.
Anytime.